he didn't have any regret and throw it in the field. And then after he purchased the field, because it seems to be chronological, we can even say if it's not chronological. I mean, it has to be because he can't burst his intestines and then buy a field. So he'll buy the field and then he falls and his intestines burst out and that's how he dies. So how did Judas die? What did he do with his money? And was he proud or regretful of his betrayal of Jesus? So those are three things that we can look at between these two verses.
That's not something I looked into specifically.
Have a look into it. Have a look into it.
So the reason this topic even came up, we were talking about apostasy and Judas. So I was basically making the point that Judas was never a believer in the first place. It says, I've chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil. And then we went on to talking about how he went on to kill himself.
Right.
Your friend brought up
the contradiction.
specific text. Before you over. I've not heard that specific point before.
No, it's fine.
So, see, there are no contradictions in the Bible. So it's just a perceived contradiction rather than an actual.
Well, have a look at it. Have a look at it because, like I said, there are three things that we can look at which don't align within the two texts. If you do research,
what you said. So I'll look into that.
Look into it.
There's a misunderstanding on your front line.
That's fine. If you think that is, then bring it back to us. You know.
Okay.
And if it's not, if we have misunderstood it, we're more than happy to be corrected.
Sure.
Right.
All good.
But let me ask you, if it is indeed a contradiction, what happens next?
So there are no contradictions in the Bible. If there was to be a contradiction, but there are no contradictions in the Bible.
Okay, I'm saying hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Let's say you go away and you study these two texts, and they do actually become contradictions. And when I say contradiction, I'm talking about two things that cannot be reconciled.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say you go away, you do your research, you do your studies and everything, and they cannot be reconciled.
Yeah.
What happens then?
It's not possible. It's not possible for there to be a contradiction.
Look, I understand that's your belief at the moment. But what I'm asking is, if your current belief is not correct and that there are contradictions,
so if
then
something
what happens?
is a specific contradiction, then yes, it has to be disregarded. That's not true.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But would you follow that, or would you hold on to what your belief?
So there's lots of you go on. I know you spoke to. I'm sure you must have spoken to atheists before.
Yes.
And one of the common lines of arguments is just throw like an internet link, like here's so many contradictions. Here's this in the Bible. Here's this in the Quran. Boom. Maybe you've not studied that specific one before. Every single time I've done that before, you go away, study it,
and it's not a contradiction.
It's a perceived contradiction.
I agree with you 100%.
So that's it. So,
and I understand that's
something. I will go away and research. Then I will find out why that's a perceived contradiction, and I will get back to you.
No, fair enough. Okay, no worries. He didn't want to have that conversation. You know, he's trying his best not to. Huh? There's not much of a conclusion. The brother, you know, I was brought into the conversation by the brother to talk about a contradiction. The Christian thinks it's a perceived contradiction, and it's not actually a contradiction, which is a fair stance to have, because many people, we have it in Islam where people bring us contradictions, supposed contradictions in the Quran, but it's a perceived contradiction based on a lack of study. So he thinks that this is one of those instances. But inshallah, when he goes and realizes that it is a contradiction that cannot be reconciled, then inshallah he will take it as something that is to be disregarded and start to look for the truth. So with that being said, alhamdulillah, it's fruitful for the few minutes that we've discussed. So yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's it. What now?